And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, flip comments, stuff up. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, but I am going to put the what I believe to be the restream link back up. No, I gotta open my tiny URL, and I'm gonna put the join link back up if anyone wants to discuss this on panel. And let's we'll copy this one. Yeah, join me up here if you guys want. And yeah, I'm not sure why this stream got frozen, shut down, but alas it did. Alas it did. So we should be back. Hopefully we should be back. You guys can see we've got the prompt up. Yeah, we've got the prompt up. Heck yes, heck yes, heck yes. There we go. Okay, cool. We be back. We be back. There be me, there be you, there be everything. So very straightforward. Very straightforward discussion, description in the stream. It's all the little text post things that you guys should be popping up. Very nicely formatted for us. And yeah, so we can do some stuff like asking questions of people and philosophers, right? What are questions that would challenge amateur and professional philosophers, amateur and professional theologians? Do such questions exist? Are they challenging? Yeah, and so I'm defending this position that methodological naturalism is better, that your thoughts are not evidences, and God doesn't evidence or prove things. And then we also have, we can see MAGA sucks and is racist, God doesn't exist, Deus Set Praeus as a conclusion, as well as other things, as well as other sort of topics, contemporary topics in philosophy and metaphysics. Yeah, so I'm very excited. I think you guys will see that as the stream gets going. There's a very rich space for us to discuss things. Let's see. Do we need music? I think we do. Yeah, we do need music, folks. Yeah, so bring your beliefs, guys. Drop it in chat. If you guys want to challenge any of these points or agree with the points, whatever it is, say what's up, guys. Yeah. And yeah, so religious and identity reality. This is an important one. I know. There it goes. There it goes. Yeah. So, hey, what's going on, Aditya? Reply, Rascal. Okay, cool. Yeah. Down. Yep. Yeah. This is a great point. I don't think anyone would really seek to argue with this, Rascal. Yeah, oops, where it is. There it goes. Now it's staying up. Yep. Yeah, so those are all evidences that you're typing in chat too. Those are all evidences of Rascal. Yep. No, I agree. Yeah, methodological naturalism, when did it start being true? That's a great question, Aditya. Yeah, Aditya asks, when did methodological naturalism start being true? That was the poll question we had up earlier. I'm going to see if I can set it back up, if I'm able to. When did this start being true? Maybe that's a great place for us to start a conversation. Does God exist? Yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably not. I don't know if I'm right. Yeah. Probably not. Yeah, probably not. It could, right? For sure. Some people say it could, it does. Yeah. But I would point you to point 5, etc. more so, and even then, yeah, etc. more so, even then. Does God exist? Probably not. Yeah, no offense. No offense to you. Here, I'm gonna say it like this. Yep, there we go. So there's the poll question. You're an atheist? Cool. Yeah, yeah, God could be an atheist too. Yeah, might as well, Deus saith, Praeus, God might as well, we might as well all be atheists. I think it's a great point. Yeah, as you guys are going through and developing your own beliefs, your own worldviews, yeah, we could all be atheists. Why not? We could all be atheists. We don't all have to be atheists. The world, whether it's atheism or it's something else, the world's not going to stop working if you say nice things to people, if you do nice things for people. The world's not going to stop working if you better your life just a little bit. If you become worse, right? There's not some invisible, a glass ceiling of being nice to people. But yeah, God doesn't evidence or prove things, and your thoughts are not evidences either. Yeah, prove you're going to give your life to atheism. What's going on, Danky1 Kenobi? Good to see you. Yeah, demonstrate and prove that you're going to give your life to atheism. Demonstrate and prove you're going to give your life over to atheism. And that's where it goes. That's where it goes, right? Yeah. Yep. Right. Methodological naturalism is better. So those that know in the Phil Bro circles, we're talking about the scientific method. We're talking about the variables. We're talking about what may be said to be real from here. We're talking about reality in some sense. Is that reality actually real? Who knows? Who knows? You'd have to demonstrate it through scientific methods, though. God doesn't evidence or prove things, right? Great common example, right? If there's a red apple and a green apple, God isn't evidence of why one apple is red and why one apple is green. One would imagine it is either genetic or, right? It is either genetic or it is has to do with like the light spectrum or the sort of material, whatever the material science of the biomatter would be in that case. Is a cool, like that's a sick answer as well. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, it's very common. You go to church, and so I want more of this, guys. This isn't meant to stifle free speech. Yeah, but when you're at church and you hear someone talking about why they evidence God, and they say bibbity dibbity, kind of like the car commercial, bibbity dibbity, as the car commercial or something like this. One would imagine, and yeah, one would imagine bibbity dibbity isn't really, it's not good evidences of God. It's not evidence of an identity-based reality being real. I studied a little philosophy in college. Yeah, I studied, I was mostly a social scientist. Yeah. But if you guys are young, I can be like your friend that plays the bass that's better than you at guitar too. Yeah, I'm going to be better at philosophy than most of you guys. Right? I've also got friends that are infuriating and that are better than me at social science, right? I've got friends that are medical doctors, researchers, theologians, and they're better at philosophy than I am. So when I look into my actual my friends list, yeah, whatever, that's disgusting. Yeah, whatever gets you there, I guess. But yeah, in an academic sense, one would wonder, yeah, how is methodological naturalism? How is this philosophy, right? We could take a step back and we could discuss or ask, is methodological naturalism philosophy? If we go from Sellers to D.K. Lewis, we're ultimately we're overcoming objections that empirical reality doesn't actually have objects that are real. Empiricism doesn't require this. It never asks us to do this. That would be a great conversation. And within this conversation would be an objection. I believe in bibbidi bobbidi and boo. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, good for you, man. Yeah, I think the where this is most relevant is we can see Marco Rubio, Donald Trump, when they're releasing the Kraken, so to speak. They're wondering who's sending dick pics that day out of the Republican Party. Yeah, they're wondering who's next. But you hear a lot of the sort of like car commercial style bibbidi bobbidi boo. And so I'm curious about that. I'm curious about it, not overly curious, but the pictures, videos of that. If you guys have that, you guys can hit me up on Discord. You see Donald Trump, Marco Rubio doing the bibbidi dobbidi doo stuff. Feel free to hit me up with that. I want to know more. I want to know more about it. Yeah, Copel though. Yeah, if there's a reason you asked if I went to university to study it, if you have something substantive for the angry, if you're mad that I'm talking about philosophy without being a professional philosopher, but yeah. Yeah, so methodological naturalism limits what we say about reality to the natural world. And it says that the best evidences, and maybe the only evidences for what is real or what exists, comes from this empirical methodology. That empirical methodology, both, not very controversially in some sense it is, but yeah, the instantiation of what exists, what needs to exist for an explanation. These are better forms of knowledge. It goes against like German idealism, like Kant, where logic is reifying these processes in the way the world works. That's not true. It's not really true. Right? You can do a lot more than in a science laboratory than you can with a modus ponens. And I think even logicians would agree. I think most people that are professional logicians. And so it emerged from what is his name? Roy Wood Sellers, categorical, right? One of the core papers was about category naturalism. This evolved and emerged to methodological naturalism. Yeah. And so, when we think of uncovering the effects of something, it's like if you heard loud rap music playing, you heard, let's say, you heard music playing or something like this, and you didn't know where it was coming from. You could go lift the rock that the speaker is behind and say, well, there's a speaker and there's music, so it's probably the speaker playing the music. But you could also, if you were a scientist, you could say, well, let's just set up decibel receptors. And if there's no such thing as music without sound waves, for example, you could witness sound waves and say, it's probably the case there's a speaker going. And if we witness speakers making sound waves all the time, those are good things. Oh, word. Oh, word. Cool. Yeah. And so someone doing science, right? Someone doing science may say, I'm not sure how what I've discovered or what I'm researching comports to a philosophical standard of what reality is. What are things that philosophers consider in metaphysics? That's how that would work, right? So you have two different people, two different disciplines, and then you may appeal to various philosophical subdisciplines to verify that the science is good. You may appeal to research or work and have your own opinions and thoughts there too. Whether or not the research and science is good, it's sound, and if we're talking about reality or something else. I'm happy to talk about career stuff with you guys. I'm happy to talk about career stuff. I don't know how to, you know, I don't know how to help all these gosh darn kids on the internet. I don't know how to get through to you, man. But yeah, I've had lots of good real jobs. I've been told to identify myself as a rich white male on the internet. Certainly not rich right now. I'm in the US and I have $50 for the rest of the month. So I'm not rich. I'm definitely not rich. How did this happen? I thought I had put this up, guys. I put this up, and this was supposed to be pinned up. It's supposed to be hyperlinked. It shows hyperlinked if you're on a laptop. If you're on a laptop or a desktop, and you have a laptop or a desktop, or you're using a web version of YouTube, you should have the web version, linked version of the link. But you can type it in. It's just tinyurl.com/join duck. If you guys have cameras on, I'm happy to bring you up on stage with me. Yeah. There are no grammar errors. How would you know there's grammar errors? How would you know that there are grammar errors? Science grew out of philosophy, and that's not dumb. That's not dumb. Science grew out of philosophy and religion. No, it didn't. Right? This. I would refer you to point 3. Your thoughts are not evidences. Yeah, Angela, I would point you to point 3. Your thoughts are not evidences. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and God doesn't evidence or prove things. So yeah, cool. So I would just point you to number 3, that your thoughts are not evidences. Yeah. How weak is the pay they give you? You suck at this, bro. I don't know who that is. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I hope you're having a good day. You must not be that angry. Right. Yeah. I have no idea what J-Wrong. I don't know what's going on in your head, but okay. Yeah. Very prescriptive. Good morning. Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Right. Angela, have a great day. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. God bless you, sin. Right. Right. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Appreciate it. Yep. Yeah. Information. So information is a currency. Information can both be sort of a casual term people use. If we talk about information, if you guys say the word information, someone might ask what you mean, but we might also say information can be a technical term. Information can be a technical term. And so this is one of the benefits you get from methodological naturalism. Yeah, when you include other people and how you feel, right? This isn't new. When you include other people and how you feel and what you do, information as a technical term is like or as, right? It is like or as. Just make sure that you're using it in the correct context if you're going forward with it. And everyone was going to be, do it for 4 more years, right? Do it for 4 more years. That, instead of using the language of MAGA Donald Trump, spend 4 years to fix those sort of mental mistakes that we had made. Do it for 4 more years and do it harder. Yeah, please. What's your major? I studied social theory. Yeah, so I studied political science and political thought. Political science and political thought. We did a good stream yesterday, guys. I don't know if it's all the way published yet, if YouTube's still processing it. I went through and outlined the logic and structural realism of the Palestinian and Israeli conflict. I went through and talked about the security dilemma that had existed and existed prior to October 7th. I discussed some of the actions within the conflict, not all of the actions, not all of the violence in the conflict, but the security dilemma, the relationship between various organizations within Israel and Palestine, and offered a criticism. I offered a criticism from the perspective of political thought, as well as something that I believe could operate within structural realism, within IR theories, and yeah, or just using buzzwords. Have you read Bertrand Russell? I'm not sure why you would. I'm not sure why you would really. Bertrand Russell really throws it down for you. That's awesome. You know, he's very famous. He's very well known. I don't know that Bertrand Russell is. I don't know that he's. I don't know that Bertrand Russell is relevant in a contemporary sense at all. So, yeah. And so, yeah, but I am aware of who Bertrand Russell is in philosophy. Cool. Yeah, drive safe, Miss Angela. Drive safe, Miss Angela Mazmanin. Your thoughts. You know, I think we could say that goes into Deus Seit Preus, J-Wrong, that imagining that some justification exists for Donald Trump's actions may or may not be true. But yeah, I think you should explore the entailments. I think you should explore the logic of why Trump makes decisions, and then the logic of the world that is created afterward, right? This is in some sense this economic thinking, this economic thinking saying, is this better or worse? What's it worth? You know, these are modalities, right? You could create a modality for neoconservative identity politics in the United States. This very unevidenced and surface level belief that there is such a thing as an American identity, right? There's an American religion and things like this, right? And so a lot of this, you know, what I'm compared to what you're saying, which appears like a subjective feeling towards things, while being unwilling or unable to take responsibility for what those beliefs and actions mean for other people. Hey, what's going on, Jennifer? And so I think you would find yourself asking questions differently, or reading some texts, right? Having a world which is capable of absorbing your beliefs. You know, most historically people just, you know, this is the funny part, is rural America. I don't know if you're American, J-Wrong 007. I don't know if you're American, but yeah, not all rural Americans had been interested in geopolitics. And suddenly, I don't know why, they developed a belief that there was like a big bad country like China that wanted to keep them poor. The Democrats wanted to keep them poor. The old Republican Party wanted to keep them poor. I'm not sure where that belief came from. I'm not sure if that's what you're referencing, that you still believe this is the case. But there's zero evidence that's true. There's zero evidence that's true. If you found success on social media or in the digital economy, that has nothing to do with Donald Trump. And yeah, it's not that interesting of a conversation. Octavian Caesar sends his greetings, twin. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you, Big Daddy Jam the Great. Cool. Jamal the Great. Yeah, what's up? Mark Antony sends his greetings. Cool. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, cool. However you want to go, yeah, have fun with it. Yeah, have a ton of fun. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back, guys. Sorry. All right. Snake Boy, I don't know why you're using Reddit language here. I don't know that we need to do that, but yeah, whatever makes you happy, I guess. Whatever makes you happy. Right? That's not something that you would say if you were at a job interview. It's not something you would say at a job interview. It's not something that you would say if, you know, you were meeting someone for the first time, or it is, right? Or it is. And then in that case, this just isn't the place for that. And you know that, right? You know that. You do know that, right? Yeah. So hey, what's going on? Good to see you. Robin Williams. Okay, cool. Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Robin Williams and killing 2 billion chickens every day for food. Yeah, whatever the number is. Exactly. Doesn't make sense to me exactly, but okay. Yeah, there you go. There we go. That was the problem. That was the problem, is the video wasn't looping. We weren't looping the video. The video was looping. We were not, but the video was looping, right? Those things can't happen independently, can they? This guy can't be serious. Yeah. Yeah, Jay Wrong, I wouldn't know what you mean by principles. I wouldn't know what you mean by principles. Yeah. You're talking about something that is, I think you're alluding to a perhaps something unknowable or complex. It sounds like when you're talking about Donald Trump. This is to Jay Wrong 007. Yeah, you know, Machiavelli, right? If you're, you know, I was joking the other day that Charlie Kirk lived the majority of his life as a political commentator. Charlie Kirk lived his life in the 19th century, 14th century, and 2000 BCE, right? He had no contemporary views and no evidence for anything he said. He was basically writing an American Talmud. Yeah, Charlie Kirk was basically writing an American Talmud, just like Jordan Peterson. And so maybe the internet understands that, but that still doesn't, right? Once you identify that, you know, this sort of right-wing neoconservative nationalist religious connotation of American exceptionalism, you know, and you can place it more specifically. You don't have to either, but yeah, there are people that exist. Maybe it's not you, that don't think it's entirely that mysterious, right? And if you're like a really masculine man or something like this, and you want me to talk like this, use your military logic, right? So if Hamas sends 3,000 people across Israel's border, that just happened, right? So that's something that you would have logic about and toward. And then if it's the case that Israel responds, there's 100,000 Palestinians killed in urban combat. The city is, you know, most of Palestine, Gaza, and the West Bank is totally destroyed. And that also happened, right? So you're going to have some logic or understanding of that. So what is that for Donald Trump? What is Donald Trump's interpretation of what happened? He was texting Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday. I don't know if these are real released texts. I don't think it's fake news, but he's basically calling him. He's saying, you're a little bitch boy. Like, quite literally, he's saying, you're a bitch boy. Everybody fucking hates you. Stuff like that, yeah. Hey, Odie, hopefully you're okay. You've got that cool mask on, but good for you. Good to see you. I'm not sure why yeah, I'd prefer if you guys want to stick to the sort of topic on the screen, that's great. Yeah, so you're joking about domestic abuse and sexual assault, so you're off the channel. That's pretty easy. Yeah, hey, my Redeemer is alive. I would point to number 3, your thoughts are not evidences. Yeah, so if you say it is the case, reality, it is some way that you are, yeah, I think you're referencing yourself in your own thoughts. So thank you for one time for the kind message, I guess. I think you think it's a kind message, but please don't do that again. It's not the topic of the stream. Hey guys, no first names, last names, no doxing, no stuff like that. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, Azorian, I don't know. You would have to tell me why that's the case. You would have to tell me why that's the case. You'd have to substantiate when, yeah. I would point to borders and settlements. I would point to borders and settlements and say from both sides, in both Israel and Palestine as well as Lebanon. I would ask you to explain why there wasn't a previous war between Hezbollah and Israel, and now there is. I would also ask you to substantiate what political goods were actually in contest, and in that context, how Iran and Israel are anything alike. How is that the case? Yeah. Feel free to come on up if you guys want to discuss the core questions. If you want to discuss the questions, appreciate it. Do I believe that aliens visited us already? Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's a good reason to have an inference. I know it's not very exciting. I think it's more likely aliens exist and have not visited us. I think that's more likely. Yeah, I think that's more likely. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with you. I don't know what's wrong with you. It's just I didn't question, and is this the main topic? Yeah, it's just the different prompts that pop up in the video, Azorian. There's a few different prompts there that pop up. Methodological naturalism is better. God doesn't evidence or prove things. Your thoughts are not evidences. And then there's a religious one too, talking about MAGA and identity politics. And it's titled Philosophical Ragebait and Reality, Religious and Identity Reality. Bibbity, bibbity, MAGA sucks and is racist. God doesn't exist. Deus, seus, preus. And yeah, you don't have any conclusions. Cool. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yep. Cool. Yeah. Please do stick to the prompts. Yep. Please do stick to the prompts. Thank you. Appreciate it. Etc. more so, and even then, right? That's one conclusion. Deus seid preus, etc. more so, even then. Cool. Yeah, round-headed. You can instead of spamming your own username, which nobody knows what that means. You can, yeah, you can contribute to the conversation based on the prompts if you want. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. As good or as bad as you want to make it, right? Can be good. Doesn't have to be good. Cool. Sick. Nice. Yeah, your thoughts are not evidences. God doesn't evidence or prove things. Methodological naturalism is better. Yeah, that methodological naturalism is just better. It's better evidences. You're talking about reality in a more concrete sense. Um, yep. And once again, methodological naturalism is better. Yeah. MAGA sucks and is racist. God doesn't exist. Yep. Cool. All those things. Whatever's clever, whatever works. Yeah. Cool. Slide, slide, slide. Hell yeah. Let's go. Yep. Cool. This one's the vibe. I'm going to turn the music up a little bit. Yeah, this is when indie musicians really pick up the task. Let's go. Yeah, so I think, what do I say here, guys? We've been live now for 40 minutes. Nobody's been able to identify a problem in the prompt with the philosophical rage bait or discussing identity politics and your belief in MAGA Donald Trump. So I do believe there's some of you guys that support attacking families that come here to make a better living based on 2% of illegals is indeed wrong. Yeah, there's not an economic modality there, right? What is the economic world where that's true? So you're demonstrating a defense of racism even by, I think, hey, thanks so much, Drumbully. Thanks for the flower. Appreciate it. I love that. Thank you so much. It's very generous. Thank you. But yeah, attacking families that come here to make a better living based on 2% of illegals is indeed wrong. Sorry, I'm misreading it. So you're saying the crime statistics. Whoops, I read it wrong. That's my bad. So you're saying that crime statistics don't justify an economic argument about crime statistics don't counteract a. Yeah, I would tend to agree. I would tend to wonder how those things are related. I could see, because we spend so much time, if I was a philosopher, I would say, well, because we spend so much time talking about crime, because many people are aware of the private prison system. Many of us are aware of the laws that exist today protecting our rights, because we think in terms of inalienable rights. We do, these are many reasons why we're familiar with what we call criminality, right? We call criminality. But because we do see the inclusion, of inalienable rights and the products thereof, this is maybe the most consistent norm or value that the U.S. has had. I would say it should take extraordinary evidence to think that violating the Constitution. Markwayne Mullins admitted in a congressional testimony just yesterday that federal officers did conspire to commit murder and attempted murder while flying under the auspices of ICE. Right? This is what Markwayne Mullin admitted. He admitted that Kristi Noem either knowingly or unwittingly falsified statements and submitted falsified records and documents in order to defend what was this conspiracy or actual attempt to commit murder. So, and so we see this not as this totality. Maybe you would say, well, what is this ICE organization? But we should, in a nuance, in a like how a grown adult might see this, is saying, well, yeah, I'm not sure from my political belief how it's the case that we're still comparing crime statistics and crime statistics when we totally lost the thread as to why most Americans believe that's important to them in the first place. There are Americans who don't. Yeah, there's Americans. Hey, what's up, Almost High? Yeah. Humans are busy over racism. So Jack is saying it right now. Humans are busy over racism and religion, and clever leaders take advantage, they rule. Yeah, I'm not sure how you would justify that. I'm not sure what that's in relation to. I don't think your thoughts are evidence of things. To me, that sounds like MAGA bibbity talk. I could be wrong, but it sounds like nationalist, presentists, ibbity bibbity, shibbity bibbity talk. Yeah. When you are there's a secret though, that you can reference political thought or political theory. This is the secret some people don't see, they don't admit, that you can reference political thought or political theory in order to sort of establish oneself as, an expert in a field or having justified an opinion. Yeah, come on in. Yeah, I tried to, the link should be hyperlinked if you're on a desktop. I tried to link it. I used the HTTPS and stuff, but if you want to call in, feel free. Hey, what's going on, Sizzle? Great to see you. Yeah. Good to see you. Yeah. Laptop? You still got that old HP laptop, Almost High? If you still got that old HP laptop, yeah, call in. We can have multiple people call in too. Yeah, the Lord said in the Bible, the Bible says the Lord said, right? The Lord said in the Bible says the Lord said, he who is last shall be first, and the first shall be last, etc. Even more so. All right, so that's how that one works. If you guys are watching the prompt and you guys are getting around to understanding. Yeah, we're going to get nice and wet here. Here it is. What did I say? I forgot. My stroke of genius here says, yeah, etc. more so and even then. Yeah, so etc. more so even then, the Bible says of the Lord. The guy who wrote the Bible says of the Lord, etc. more so even then, says that he said, pertaining to his role as lordship and the whatnot, he who is first shall be last, and the last therefore shall be first. Right. So etc. more so even then, they didn't define those terms, etc. No offense, right? So that's what I would say back to you guys in chat. No offense. Yeah. I believe God created humans from the already existing primitive hominids on Earth, and took credit for everything because he was pompous. Cool. It's yeah. Yeah, attributing Karl Marx is maybe a strong what I would be eager to grant to Mr. Singh's comment, what I would be eager to grant to that is that class can be a very presentist and potentially a strong criticism of religion and other belief systems. Class, it can be presentist, right? But we don't see the same, it's not the same population of people that Karl Marx talked about 30 years or 50 years before or 50 years after. Yeah, is it? Right? Karl Marx would say it is, but then you're asking me to adopt what starts looking like an ideology or worldview rather than just a single criticism or critique, etc. More so even then, right? And so to Michael's point, again, Deus Seat Preus, yeah, God absolutely may have created humans. And then where are the fingerprints on DNA, right? Deus Seat Preus, Deus Seat, Seus Preus, Preus Deus, Preus Seus, Deus. So where are God's fingerprints on our DNA? Why is God's fingerprints not on a banana differently, right? He didn't brand it. This is dumb to me, right? Enzo Ferrari knew how to brand a car. Enzo Ferrari knew how to, you would put Belugiani, Taglio, Valenciaga leather piping on a Ferrari. Enzo Ferrari knew this. God didn't know this. So you're telling me, based on your argument, right, this is why I would say you have to clean that, right? You have to clean that up. Clean it up. Clean it up because your argument for God is a weaker form of logics for that God. It's a weaker God. Yeah, great point, Michael Jackson. Yeah, if you know that he was the chief scientist, then what you should be looking at and doing, you should be right. You should be considering why he made the leap from public to private, right? Why did he make the leap from private research to public? I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know. Oh, cool. We got some Marx Heigl talk going on in chat. Marx Heigl talk. Let's see this here. Well, Heigl said the state is a march of God on earth, so totalitarian, like Mustache Man used religion to justify state absolutism. Yeah. And so totalitarian, this would exist very strongly. I think it's very good. It would exist very strongly in political thought, right? It would exist very strongly in political thought. It wouldn't be clear right away why this would exist in political theory, why it would be applicable to create explanations and produce, if you have to produce predictions, but it would create logic for how certain scenarios are interpreted. It would simply state that in a totalitarian sense, Hitler saw cultural drivers and geopolitical drivers as one thing. I'll type this out. So is this right? Oh my gosh, guys, we are not even waiting. We're going to add Almost High to the stream. Hey, what up? Where are we at? Hey. Let me turn this rain sound off.
I wish I had a way to tell how loud I am. Sorry.
Oh, you're the same. Yeah, I can. I've got all the power and control in the world. I can adjust. I can adjust all of the volume settings. But you sound good. Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, I just figured I'd offer to be the bridge to the bibbity today, like the.
Are you still there? Oh man, if you're on mobile, we might have some issues. I don't know if you're still here. You froze up for me. Um, if you're on mobile, dang. Do I have? I've got evidence. Yeah, I've definitive evidence. Pretty high lagged out. So I'm gonna go ahead and uh, let's yeah. Are you on mobile?
I am. Yeah.
Cool. Restream doesn't work that well. You might have to open an incognito tab because it uses a lot of. I can try turning the video down. I can try minimizing this and see if that helps. But yeah, we'll try it. We'll try it. Is you still there? Hmm. Hmm. I think we lost almost high again. Hey, what's going on, Minor Soren? I forgot my internet's trying. I'll try a hotspot or give up. Yeah, whatever you want. I mean, if we can get it to work on mobile, yeah, let's give it a go. Yeah, let's give it a go. We don't got any formalisms and stuff here. Methodological naturalism says that what exists is going to be best evidenced by the empirical method by which it is produced. So it's a worldview, right? It's a worldview that's sort of related to the scientific view of reality. It's not really scientific, but it is a little bit. Cool. Thank you, Sing. Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. They believe to be the Anunnaki who are capable of interstellar travel. We're now finding many habitable planets in astronomy, with NASA confirming God could have come from one of those. Yeah, that's an interesting view. Yeah, interesting view that God is just a beingness that's beyond humanness. This is a very popular tact, especially with contemporary mathematics. And yeah, it's not really a criticism of science, but yeah, to Michael's comment, I would just mention, whoops, I would mention that I would mention that uh, I would mention that, yeah, one can be critical that like most scientists would accept that DNA is a little more than naming conventions, right? DNA, if we talk about DNA, it's not just a naming convention, it's deeply explanatory. You can study the structure of DNA, the functions of DNA, all pretty in depth. But however, DNA there isn't like a holy text that's written, right? There's no religious notion of DNA being the ground for what we define as humans. It's just very convenient. It seems to work. It talks about a lot of the DNA is in reference to many of the same things humans are interested in. All right, so this is called supervenience. Supervenience. Um, um, however, yeah, but like there are many philosophers. There's people from computational science who do philosophy. There's phenomenological traditions in contemporary senses. There's physicists who say, well, yeah, but if why that's compelling is because the actual stuff of DNA is just like star matter. It's just, you say it's made of the same stuff. It's made of information ultimately that we can know into or know around. Then yeah, there's a reason that God coming from another planet or something like this is analogous to like saying that a superior being exists. A superior being would exist. Um, yeah. So it's a secular worldview. Yeah. Yeah, you could define it as being secular. Yeah. It would be a secular worldview. Yeah. It's a worldview that's based in it's a worldview. It is secular. It's a worldview that's based in empirical observation. and the method by which deduction or inference happens around empirical things. Yeah. So very common, right? It's instead of saying it's secular because not everyone cares about religion, or not everyone is deeply committed to religious truths. So I would say yes, but more so, etc. Even then, um, I would talk about it in terms of the empirical, inferential, deductive, inductive sort of side of what method can entail. Vib, cool. Yeah, what up, Vib? Great to see ya. Technology may have looked like miracles of God, like powers to the primitive biblical peoples of the time. Nice. Cool. Yeah. It could have. It could have. In but so could volcanoes, right? So could volcanoes. Volcanoes were big, destructive. And so to people that had critical thinking skills were able to relate maybe small, ordinary, you know, irrational and spiritual experiences, irrational and spiritual in a sense that it doesn't have to mean that much. But um, those may be experiences or topics that are um, like those things may also be irrationality in our head, right? Because we most people would say we know that volcanoes are not God. They're not God in the sense, at least, that we talk about God. Who knows? Maybe there is a universal field of consciousness in something like volcanoes and tectonic plate shifting, earthquakes, flare-ups under the ocean of volcanism, agar, like a fish agar eating another thing. These may all be incredibly important events in terms of physics and what reality is like or something. And it's not just the case that we ascribe meaning to them. It may be the case that in some world these are really important. Volcanoes are God. Volcanoes are important, right? Sounds very strange to say. Um, but yeah, methodological naturalism still in those cases gets rid of superstition and suppositions, right? It would still say that if you can't bring these things that maybe seem true or sound nice, they're comfortable, they're familiar, they're interesting, you can be passionate and explore them. How passionate? I don't know, however passionate you want to be about volcanoes and hamburgers. But yeah, yeah. So one may also wonder, if there is a hardcore, if there is such a theory of human spirituality, or is such a theory of belief in the supernatural. um, you know, I'm not aware that one exists, but let's just say if we were to suppose or have a hypothetical where one of those does exist, um, what is that about? What is it about to say that technology looks like miracles? Technology looks like miracles from God, right? It's none of this. It's not this pseudoscience emerging from data statistics and fake data scientists, pseudoscientists trying to prove that evolution is God's fingerprint. And it's telling us, when you analyze the data, when the data itself can actually just be put in many different formats, and it looks like evolution in those formats still, right? It looks like a less accurate form of, or less precise, eliminative form of evolution still. But yeah. So atoms made from stars. Yeah. Hydrogen, isn't it? Hydrogen and helium just forms naturally in the vacuum, and then all heavier elements, all heavier atoms are made during supernovae and in the cores of stars. Yeah, during fusion and fission, right? They're made, and they live in the stars for a long time, and then when supernova happen, they star kitchens. Evolution is based on historical materialism. Let's see. Yeah. 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 It could be. It could be. It could be. I would be very curious as to what's antithetical to, what's someone might say it's obviously data or information, but demonstrate then, demonstrate um, data and information somehow make obsolete or reinterpret what physical stuff is, what our reality around us is like. I don't know that it is. I don't, you know, be, so I mean, I would say if it's just, are we still in that same time period? I don't know what to say. I'm not like I'm not a Hegel expert, but yeah, he came to Earth when we were the Homo erectus stage of evolution or something like that. I don't know. Um, okay. Yeah, it could be. It could be, right? It could be. I don't know that. I don't know. I wouldn't know of how that would be evidenced, is what I could say. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, people take various stances on religion and science being together. They're typically, the idea of independence is that there's, that, yeah, the things we talk about in science are different than what religion talks about, when we're talking about meaning, or they're not, right? Or they're not. It's the same thing, and it's just different ways of knowing something about the same thing. But yeah, that's a really deep conversation for like academic philosophers. But saying I could say I feel, let's say I feel some way about a cup or a car. I feel some way about computers or data centers, something like this. Um, you know, I would wonder if the qualities, if I'm talking about the total like compute output or something, am I talking about the same thing in the present sense or in a future sense, right? What are are there 100 modalities we use to talk about AI? Is there just one? Are there, you know, so feeling some way and studying something can be very different and, very big view. Oh, hey, Betty White. Betty White's so funny. She's one of my favorite comedians. Yeah. Can I show you? Let me wake you up, Miss Betty. This is how real gangsters do it in 2026. Right? Bam, bam, bam. Where'd it go? Whoops. Yeah. Bam. So yeah, you say tomato, I say tomato. You say tomato, I say tomato. Your thoughts are not evidences. Um, yeah, etc. and more so. So even then, um, okay, cool. Yeah, good luck. If it pulls up, yeah. If it pulls up, I don't see you in the studio yet. I'm using the same link. As far as I know, I'm still live. So yeah, go for it. Yeah, find the solution to the. If we're talking about political identity, is it about? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We'll go find it. We'll go get something substantive. Um, I'm not seeing you. I don't see you in the studio. I don't see you in the studio. Did you use the join link from today or the one that's yesterday? We are reaching the end. Solve vanity. I don't know what that means. Oh, you're listening in. That's really weird. Yeah, I don't see you. I don't have you. I don't have you anywhere in the studio. Yeah, I don't see you. Yeah, I'm sorry. Um, yeah, I'm not sure. It's just not showing up. You're not back here, so um, I can't help it if Restream isn't showing you. I can't. I don't have anything to click. So um, Jesus reigns now from heaven on earth now. Cool. Yeah, that's not a solution to an identity crisis. So you're just rickrolling us. Yeah, right. Your thoughts are not evidences. Your thoughts aren't evidence. There's nothing natural or real. God doesn't evidence or prove things. So you're violating all three. You're violating all three. Your thoughts are not evidence. Yeah. Oh, it seems the stream got cut. Does it? That's not what that is. That's me live on my phone. Yeah, I'm live on my phone, so I believe I'm still live. I believe I'm still live. Um, hey, I heard a sound. What up? What's up, homie?
Hola. At least I'm learning more about my computer and stuff.
Yeah. Buenos, chica. ¿Cómo estás? La parte de
Como,
dog.
como si, como sa.
I heard a sound.
Can you hear
Bien,
me?
bien. Yep. Yeah. What up? Almost. Are you? What do you know about Pakistan?
So not a lot. I have been listening about the Middle East, but I get lost in the history of it all. I kind of need like a drawn map, I think.
Hmm.
What specifically?
I don't know. Someone just said if I'm from Pakistan or if I know anything of Pakistan. And yeah, I don't. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. Yeah.
I use a lot of or a couple of different herbs from out there, like henna. Henna root comes from Pakistan, Afghanistan area.
Oh, cool.
Out in there. I think it's black henna from Pakistan. That's it.
Nice. What are those roots? Do they have medicinal or are they just like sort of like
They're
flavor
decorative
enhancers?
and
Oh,
decorative and traditional. You can steep them and cure them, and it makes an ink that will stain your skin. They use it for marriages generally, but it lasts a long time.
nice.
Yeah,
Very
it's really
cool.
fun art.
Yeah. Oh, whoops. I'm gonna put you up here, and yeah, someone says Pakistan is a dumb country. So I don't know if we're starting the third security dilemma, the third nuclear security dilemma in chat, which is kind of funny, but yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of where I wanted to come in. Is like, there's a really big gap, I think, between the people who say that you're full of word salad, you know, and where you are. There's a big gap there. I don't know if I can fit, but it would be nice, I guess.
Yeah, it is important. Yeah, yeah. Somebody says somebody asked about, I don't know what that means.
What is it?
Isn't methodological? Someone said, isn't methodological relativism backwards? I don't know what that is.
Am I hearing you again somewhere? Ooh,
Um.
I got
Oh,
it.
there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's yeah. They're asking about social science stuff. You were asking about that the other day. Remember you yeah, you told me I had to look up hermeneutics, and I had to go do more about
Her mother.
philosophy of social science. Yeah, hermeneutics. Yeah.
I did not say anything. I'm pretty sure that's where your tattoo, though, the know thyself. To know thyself is to know the world. I'm pretty sure that was from Hermetic philosophy. That's what you know about it.
Oh, word. Yeah, you know more about it than
Yeah,
I do. I don't know about my own tattoos.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Would like it.
Yeah.
Standpoint
I'd
has a
have to
lot of.
put it aside, I think.
Did you do it?
Yeah. Yeah. They were attracted to the question. They were Stand on It was attracted to the question on identity and identity politics.
The question just in general of.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's real broad, babe. Real broad.
Yeah. Yeah, I
I
mean,
had to
like
look up the definition.
I was eating bananas yesterday at 1 a.m. And so this is my point, is that if I use identity politics to fuel colonial banana plantations, and I also know biology tells me I'm more like a banana than I am a rock, and that is a fact-based, fact-laden statement, right? Then that's still the conclusion I have to draw, that I'm more like a banana. I don't get to say, well, because I see myself next to rocks more often, because I don't see myself as a banana. These are all things that these are all these are all claims that I would presume that I would maintain.
And I see you build this thought days. Whole the whole thing is really extent was been
Your mic is roboting. You're not roboting. Your mic is roboting a little bit. Prove the soul is real.
Okay, is it okay?
Yeah, you sound very good now. Actually, yeah. Yeah, if you can pull up whoops. Dang. Yeah. She must have lagged out or dropped off. But we had let's see. Throw her back in. I heard she's rejoining. But I don't see her still. So I just heard it blip or bleep or blop or something like this. Almost High is joined. Add to the stream. Yeah. This is why I need $500 in super chats to buy a StreamYard subscription, because StreamYard does work on mobiles always. You know what? We're gonna have to have you. We're gonna have to have you fix your internet. We're gonna have to. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, we're gonna have to have you fix your internet. Fix your gosh darn internet. Yeah. Is Pakistan any different than the U.S.? That's what I'd be curious about. Where if Islam is used for decision making, my belief, when we use values, culture, and geopolitical reality, and by the time politicians get it, they say things like, well, we need economic stimulus, or we need, these forms of success, and this is where your tax dollars go, stuff like this. Is it honest? However that looks in Pakistan, I just wonder if that's different in places all around the world. I'm sure it is a little different because people hold to different values. People do hold to different values, but that's not a totality either, right? There is some version of reality that exists. As an atheist, I would say I don't believe religion should influence politics, even in culture, right? Because it's not explanatory. Religion doesn't explain why religion doesn't explain economics, it doesn't explain militaries. I do this. Yeah, I'm a full-time streamer. Yeah. Yeah, so I've had my channel for about 2 years. We got monetized about a month and a half ago. And so, yeah, I don't stream all the time, but I don't have other income sources other than YouTube. Yeah. Yeah, no worries. No worries. Almost high. Yeah, no worries. Um, hey, what's going on, Moon? Fierce Pause. It's not do. Uh, cool. Yeah, yeah. I've got the translated versions. I've got the translate version on my side. So I can see your comments and things like this. Yeah. Yeah, preferences, definitely preferences are different, and then how that impacts at the end of it, how that you know how people go about navigating different political processes and things like this. That it may be relevant for a lot of reasons. What people's stated preferences and political beliefs are. Yeah, it's a great point. It's a great point. It's also not clear, right? It's not clear how it caught. It's clear it matters, but it may not be clear like in what sense it matters. Hello, hello. Actually, yeah, hello. Good to see you. Great to see you. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We got Happy Pride Month showing up in chat. Yeah, Happy Pride Month to everyone. Yeah, Happy Pride Month from Poops McG. That's awesome. Let's go. Let's go. From which mythology do I belong? I don't know. I was told to be a rich white guy. I was told by my audience I have to identify myself as a rich white guy. But that's smut, right? That's a little bit of smut. It's not totally false, but it's not totally true either. I would maybe place myself mythologically, yeah. The I would place myself as Tom Ford's House of Gucci. Tom Ford's House of Gucci, right? Yeah. Yeah, Enzo Ferrari. And then what else? Where else do I place myself? Um, yeah, I'd place myself mythologically as just within or beyond what John Locke said of people, right? John Locke said we use reason, and so I would say, okay, thanks, John. That's enough, right? That's enough. I don't need you telling me more about myself, John. This tulip madness. This is opium. This is the opium of the masses. This is tulip madness. This John Locke guy opens up this textbook. John Locke, very famous, great philosopher, very thorough writer. But what did he actually do? When you zoom out and you look at this John Locke fellow, he said, "Yeah, you guys are reasonable. Hey, show some reason, show some restraint, right? Have some respect for yourself. Have some respect for things." So I'd say, okay, thanks, John. I appreciate it. Great thoughts, right? That's this could be an email, not a meeting. This doesn't have to be a meeting. This could have been an email, John Locke. Yeah, we use reason to derive all of our political principles. All right, John, that's enough. Thank you. Thank you, pal. I appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate it. I am an atheist. Yeah, I am an atheist. I call myself a Buddhist atheist, so I can take positions that range from anti-theism, agnostic atheism, Gnostic atheism, um, hard atheism. I can defend any of these positions. I can also defend some versions of God happily, right? Right. But most people come in here, when you come in here quoting the Bible, it's like you're like John Locke to me, then, right? Okay, John Locke. Okay, cool. Yeah, I got it. Right. I get a Motel 6 room key. Yeah, one of you guys are very charitable. You decide to send a super chat. I get a hotel tonight or something. Okay, cool. Yeah, they've got that Bible at that Motel 6, so I understand that, right? I'm not unaware that I can't read it. I can read it. It doesn't matter. It could be the Talmud. It could be the Quran, the Torah. Yeah, whatever Benjamin Netanyahu's reading in Reader's Digest. Yeah, the TV guide for Benjamin Netanyahu. Yeah, I know. I'm aware of those too. You've got the Quran and Surah. Awesome, right? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. You've got Quran, Surah, Bible. I don't care. I don't want any of it. Thank you. Thank you. You can read the freedom teachings and look into Keylontic science, or you can just Google it. Super interesting. Yeah, I don't know what keylogging is. That sounds like some hacker stuff, but uh, yeah, yeah. From my view, look, I come from money. I come from money. I come from great intellectual traditions, and so yeah, I'm friends with microbiologists and medical doctors and PhDs and master's candidates online. Um, my friends online hung out with Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris. So if you're talking to me about like some Scientology, Los Angeles pseudoscience stuff, I'm not going to be able to afford it. First of all, second of all, I don't know that I want to. Right? You'd have to convince me in those cases what exactly it is that we're talking about. You'd have to clarify it for me. Yeah, that's how guys like me think. You have to clarify what it is that I rejected. Yeah. Oh, Henry is spot on. Henry's spot on, and this is Happy Pride Month. Know this. We say the fecal cosmic explosion into existence when you say, as you say, God did it. Cool. Yeah, so happy Pride Month, everybody. This is this is real teaching. This is real teaching, right? We did see the Pride Parade had to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy recently. It was a disruption, but yeah, when you say God did it, when you say God created it, or whatever it is, I don't know, I don't care. Yeah, there is a equally evidenced cosmology called the fecal cosmic explosion, that everything came from some exploding poop stuff. I don't know what it is, what it means, why, where it came from, any of those things. But hey, there it is. Oh, word, cool. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, sacred geometry. I was thinking about that the other day. How we ask about interpreters and in how do we interpret stuff, right? This is just in my own head, but yeah, when we ask about inference, saying if something's probably true, more so, etc. What makes it probable that it's true, right? If you haven't seen aliens on Earth, it's probably the case that aliens don't exist on Earth. Cool. Congratulations. You're affirming common sense. But if you go back to, let's say you go back to, um, we go back to wondering why we interpret that inference. We have to say, I have to go all the way back. I have to stretch back and say, well, yeah, that's good reason. That's good logic that if you haven't seen aliens on Earth, nobody has, right? Nobody's seen aliens on Earth. They probably just don't exist. Why speculate about it then, right? But but if you go back and you say, well, what type of person thinks like that? What kind of schmuck? What kind of schmuck doesn't waste their time researching aliens? Right. To me, this does lead back to, well, is this a geometric? Is this like a geometric pattern? Right? Is this like a, this type of inference? Is there something substantive to the way we think, the way our mind sees things? Is there something substantive about our ability to relate in the first place to things? Hey, Underboss, great to see you. Great to see you. Was that? Yeah, you too. Yeah, absolutely. I think we can get rainbows for everyone. Happy Pride Month and everything. We are an allyship channel. We are an allyship channel. I identify as queer heterosexual, just as an FYI to everyone out there. But yeah, we are an allyship channel. If you check your channel rules, absolutely, pride, gay history is American history, right? Black history is American history. So we can say these things, right? We can say these things and we can mean them, you know? Yeah. Hamburger, Dodge Hemi, Allah, right? Allah hamdulillah, praise be unto God, right? Dodge Hemi engines. Yeah, no, it's Pride Month, folks. Get it through your head. Get it through your head. We're not all in this together, but we are. What is methodological naturalism? Hey, great question, Henry. Yeah, that was the topic of the stream. Oh, thanks so much. We got the makeup brush coming through. Thanks so much. Let me brush myself up a little bit. Thank you so much. Hell yeah. Methodological naturalism. Yeah, it's this idea that our the way us perceiving, measuring, defining variables, right? This is a way that we can describe natural objects, right? So natural objects, right? So saying I'm feeling, I'm sensuously, to compare this to Karl Marx's philosophy, Karl Marx's actual philosophy, he would say that, yeah, a smart person would hold a baseball, and a normal person, a normal smart person, not doing internet Philbro philosophy, would say, yeah, I can feel the leather, I can feel the stitching, I can feel the covering of the ball. I also know how much this baseball weighs, right? I know how much it weighs. If I throw it, I can use a speedometer, a speed gun. I know how fast it's going. And if I cut it open, I know it's made of all this other stuff. So he's saying that this is the metaphysical reality, right? This is our epistemology, our metaphysics is that immaterial physical thing. Cool, right? The guy wasn't a professional philosopher, but pretty cool idea, right? Pretty cool idea still. It's interesting to think this way. Methodological naturalism says, well, wait a second, right? Because I'm actually more interested in how the speed gun works. I'm more interested in why you say the baseball feels like something in the first place. What's actually behind this? What are we talking here, right? And so methodological naturalism would say there's no such person as a duck who just feels some ways, right? I don't exist. Methodological naturalism would say, yeah, this duck guy's just like every other schmuck who says this. Every other schmuck, every other average Joe, every other person who says this. He's got neurons in his brain. He's got these brain centers. He's got morphology in his brain. He wasn't always this way, right? Don't blame him. Go blame Lucy 1.1 million years ago. It's her fault, right? Right? It's her fault. It's the eukaryotes' fault. Go back, blame these guys. Blame these guys. And yeah, this. Did my stream get chopped? I'm back. I'm back. The stream got chopped for just a second. Yeah, the stream got chopped for just a second. So, anyways, yeah. So this is where methodological naturalism comes in, is saying that, yeah, well, what we're actually talking about in reality is what actually does it, not just what you say, right? Your beliefs, your ideas are not evidences. Your beliefs, just your thoughts are not evidences of something. Your thoughts are your thoughts. Yeah, hey, stay blessed. Stay blessed, Underboss. We'll see you around, man. We'll see you around. We will see you around. Yeah, and so hopefully you guys can still see the screen. I got my co-host. I got my co-host up, guys. Please don't undermine this. And so here's my co-host, Duck. Yeah, and Almost High is absolutely right. Yeah, when we're talking about methodological naturalism, we can we're saying that things, you can't say God did it ever. You can't say God did it. You can't say there's some mysterious energy force, right? Under methodological naturalism, there wouldn't be sacred geometry, for example, right? Sacred geometry is not a natural law. Sacred geometry is not it's not a physical cause. There is no cause to it. It's not a mechanism. There's not a process. There's no start. There's no end to it. There's no way to define variables in sacred geometry. And so that's what methodological naturalism is all about. Yeah. Katie Potter. I haven't heard her. Let's see. Katie, where does she live? Where would I live if I know her? Katie Porter. Oh, she conceded the governor race. The governor race, right? Oh, and we saw Karen Bass's. Karen Bass's opponent is already saying, well, I've been sent by God, right? God's given me the strength to do all things. So this is Los Angeles, right? Los Angeles may or may just be as important of a job in reality as the governor of California. So let's see. But I'm in Arizona, right? So I can't talk about that. But I do love watching these idiots, right? I love watching these idiots show up. And what do they say? The idiots always say that, the first thing out of their mouth is their family. Oh, thank you to my wife, right? Yeah, hey, there's some guy who's a journeyman for welding. There's some guy that changes oil at Jiffy Lube. There's some guy that flips burgers at Burger King, right? There's some kid who wants to go he wants to go fly to Paris and learn about doing good things for NGOs, good things for people, right? Donald Trump would say you're dropping, rice in the rice paddy or something. Something racist is what Donald Trump would say. But these idiots show up, and the first thing out of their mouth is, "Oh, what about my wife? Oh, what about my wife? My wife is going to be with me through this." And these are the first guys. I have 10 times out of 10 that are, sending, pictures over Snapchat, and they think they can't get caught, right? They've got their secret gay Twitter accounts open and things like this. Get out of here, right? Get out of here with that. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody needs to hear that. But yeah. So that's a huge loss, right? That's a huge loss. But this guy running against Karen Bass was the one I saw. So that's who I'm talking about right now. Let's see, LA mayor candidate. And these guys are such idiots. It's not Chris Pratt, right? Chris Pratt, Steve Hilton, Spencer Spratt. Yeah. So this Spencer Pratt, this euphoria looking guy, right? He's this Instagram superstar, head full of sawdust, right? And he's saying he's going to manage $1 trillion economy. And he gets up and he says, yeah, you're going to introduce, take me to your leader, right? I'm an alien for this stuff. Yeah, you must be, buddy. You must be, pal. Yeah, and my pet hamster's got a degree from Johns Hopkins Medical School. These guys are such idiots, though. These guys are such morons. He comes up and then, so after he gets through, well, my wife and my family, and I'm going to go talk to the people at the soup kitchen, because I'm such a good person, right? I need you here. I need myself here. After all this, then he's back to, well, God did it, right? God did it. Yeah. God gets me ready for all things, and God gets me ready for. So what? So Spencer Pratt, if I can say candidate Pratt, who exactly is going to prepare you for these community meetings? Is it your wife? It's God. It's your family. It's your community, right? Why would I introduce you to anyone? Yeah, it's not because you're not Christian. It's not because I'm not Christian. It's because you're an idiot, right? At the end of it, I've seen dumb before. I've seen dumb. I've seen superficial. I've seen overconfidence. And I've seen people that want to basically capitalize on what really looks like a pretty good situation in Los Angeles, right? You have Karen Bass stewarding the entire city through these ICE protests. Some people have called them riots, right? But the fact that someone doesn't want to see a little 5-year-old girl taken away, just because you don't want to see these 5-year-old kids taken away by these ICE Gestapo, whoever they are, these lunatics. To me, it doesn't. Just to me, it just is what it is. It made sense in the first place. It made sense in the first place that you would have if Los Angeles wants Democrats, if Los Angeles doesn't want to be looking at their neighbors and wondering, which version of Armani or Hugo Boss, Donald Trump's little Nazi police force is going to be arresting. They're not wondering who has smallpox in 2026 in Los Angeles. That's not a small thing, right? Spencer, what do you think about vaccines? Why don't you come out with it? What do you think about vaccines and vaccine researchers? Why don't we step it all the way up to the real thing? Yeah, these cities, this is where all your next COVID deaths are going to die, when RFK and Donald Trump finally get together for the first time ever, for the first time and last time in their lives. And yeah, they decide that Muhammad Ali's Parkinson's disease or some shit. Yeah, Michael J. Fox, this was caused because someone had a vegan salad at lunch. It was salad and go. It was the old Sbarro's Pizza at the Cubs Stadium that closed down, right? You got a little bit of gay in there or something, and so suddenly because of the gay you caught, everybody has autism. Man, yeah, yeah. While Jimi Hendrix was out there shooting the Vietnamese, Martin Luther King was building a black nation, and Muhammad Ali is saying that Allah Akbar, and he hates America. He doesn't want to go fight this war that nobody asked for. He doesn't want to go spend his time and effort on these bombs killing people he's never met. Yeah. And meanwhile, the effort Donald Trump's produced is that, yeah, well, crayons, eat crayons, put crayons up your nose, and you get autism. Doesn't make sense. So where's this Spencer Pratt fellow? He's so good about his wife and God. Yeah. What do you think about the next Spanish flu? What do you think about the next plague that's coming? The end is nigh. Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead. Yeah. That's how generic you are. You're so generic that you could be a Monty Python sketch and you don't even know it, right? You're not even British, and yet there you are. There you are. So mind-boggling. I don't care. I don't live in California. That's what I mean. If you guys bring up you guys want to bring up whoever it is, I don't give a shit. I don't live in California. Are you guys getting vaccinated? Do you believe in science enough? Cool. That's what I care about. I care about that you believe in enough science that I don't get sick, that me and my family don't get sick. That's all I care about. Yeah. And yeah, you can make that's the funny thing. If you want to talk about, you want to talk about your trip to Cabo San Lucas or your trip to Jamaica, you want to talk about, whatever it is. I don't know. Yeah. Martha's Vineyard and St. Petersburg has the best cheap wine bars, right? They've got the best $3 glasses of a house red wine during happy hour or something like this. You can do that on Instagram. You don't need to tell. You don't need to tell more than 1 million people in any city in the U.S. You don't need to tell more than 1 million people that yeah, you're gonna go tie their shoes for them. You can just go meet. Yeah, I don't mean to be rude, but you can go meet people working at homeless shelters on your own time. You can do that yourself, right? You don't need cameras on you. You don't need an Instagram account. You don't need 7 socials. You don't need 10 million followers. And your idiot followers who look up to Mr. Beast and guys doing trick shots, throwing used condoms into cups and stuff like this on the internet. You don't need any of that either. Yeah. So I just wish they would be more honest. I wish they would be more honest. Aspirin worked all Trump had to say. Pregnant women shouldn't take it. And what? Yeah, Donald Trump didn't have to say anything, right? Is Donald Trump a medical doctor? No. So Donald Trump wouldn't, if you say something like understanding the effects of acetaminophen or other anti-inflammatory drugs, these non-narcotic anti-inflammatory non-stimulant drugs, how long do you actually have to go to medical school or residency to know that? I would expect you have seen at least one patient with sensitivity to acetaminophen or any other sort of aspirin style drug. I'd imagine you'd seen one patient and you've read a lot of papers. Hey, that's the person who's going to be qualified, right? That's the person who's going to. And guess what? Yeah, that may be like a nurse or a farm tech assistant might be like, hey, I know enough to know this, right? So if you text me and you're my friend, there's our conversation. But that's where you're wrong, Aaron Williams, is Donald Trump didn't have to say anything about it. He's an idiot, right? Dumb people talk about things they don't know about. Stupid people always have to have their voice heard. They always have to be talking, have to be in the conversation. Hey, I know enough to pass that one off. I know enough to pass the baton. I ain't a genius, right? Trump saying breathing is good and idiots would die. Yeah. Okay, cool. I don't know what that knows. I don't know what that knows at this point, right? If this moron doesn't know enough to open up a history book, anthropology textbook. This guy is so dumb. He wants to change the education system. This guy is such an idiot, right? This guy's so dumb. He opened a university, and and he himself hasn't read a book in his life. Absolutely insane. Yeah, so the guy who ran a school makes these types of claims, and no one thinks to wonder, no one stops to wonder if this guy was always such an idiot. Absolutely insane. Was he just lying to you and selfish and greedy the entire time? And that was just the convenient default choice, so you said yes to it. I don't care, right? Even someone like Tim Pool. Tim Pool wasn't always this moronic. He is now, right? Welcome to the Tim Pool show. Hey, Steven. Yeah, Steven again is, I think he's echoing, Steven in chat is echoing the sentiment of first, do no harm, right? When you're prioritizing your outcomes as a medical practitioner, you say first, do no harm. So another qualified person in chat, Dr. Stephen Collins the third. Yeah, Dr. Stephen Collins. Yeah, his dad wasn't a medical doctor, but if you ask his mom, his real dad was a medical doctor, I think. Yeah, his real dad was a medical doctor traveling for business, quote. Um, yeah, Harvard and Columbia are ideological shitholes. Yeah, maybe there's a Goodwill Hunting story arc that will heal some of those wounds. You can apply to, I don't know if you live in New York, you live in the greater Boston area, but maybe it's the case they would hire you, right? You can work at a Qdoba, you can work at a Chipotle on campus in the Student Memorial Hall. You can you can run your own little science experiment. You can ask some guy named Paul Hung for help. You can say, hey Paul, I want to see who gets guacamole and peppers on their burritos at Harvard and Columbia. And so you can, and Paul Hung will be like, well, hey, technically I'm a mechanical engineering major, with a minor in physics. And you just say, right, this is when you big dog up on them and you say, hey, Paul Hung, I don't give a shit. I'm trying to come up with some data statistics on guacamole orders. That's what we're doing here. My IQ is above 139. Yeah, I just wonder what's at the hard core of it, right? Is that I'm not that smart of a guy. I'm kind of a dumb person, but if I let's just say, if I ask you this seriously, what are you doing at 100 IQ, bro? What happens when you turn the lights down? What happens at 110, 120, 130, 140, right? Neither of us would know what happens above 140. Double the level of entrance into Harvard. Yeah, so 70 is not a good number, right? 70 is a bad number. 70 is a bad number. Hey, what's going on, Glurbo? Good to see you again. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. You guys, I've got my duck picture up, but I'm gonna have to put the video back on. You retired at 50. Congratulations, right? Congratulations. That's very cool. Yeah, send me some of them. Send me some of those. Hey, I'll tell you what. If you subscribe and stick around, you're gonna have to send me some $2 super chats when you get to that early Social Security age. Yeah, but enjoy that. Yeah, I know you. Here's what I know. I know enough to know that Uncle Sam didn't take care of you for those last 50 years. You hope he's going to take care of you for that next 50 now, right? Stephen Collins, if you're in the U.S. or Canada, I'm in the U.S. But I also know, right? I also know enough to know that that you're not taking a penny out with Uncle Sam raking you over the coals for it now, right? You must be one of these gold or silver investors. You got your own thing going on. Hey, but look, I'm telling you, why not stay out of politics then? You've been off the grid. You retired off the grid. You did everything off the grid. Congratulations, first and foremost. But why not stay out of politics for the rest of us? Yeah, there are people who depend on the government, and that's not a bad thing. There's also people who depend on other people not being idiots. Crypto, cool. Nice. Yeah, you got the Bitcoin money and all this stuff. Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't do anything about it. Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't do anything about it. Yeah. So it takes all kinds. I'm glad you got the money out of that bag, right? Trump's IQ has never been revealed, but way before his dad died, they said he was tested at 73. Zettelbro, not during Pride Month, man. Not during Pride Month. We're gonna want you to clean that up a little bit. Yeah. Not during Pride Month, bro. Good to see you, though. Great to see you. It's not a good thing to depend on the government. Cool. Awesome. Yeah. I'm glad you can prescribe that immediately, right? There you go. Yeah, this is what I want Olds to do. I want you to go to Anjanima, Chad. Anjanima is a poor country that is home to 1.3 million 1.3 million refugees, 1.3 million people. So I'm going to give you these little leaflet pamphlets, and you can go to Anjanima, Chad. We'll give you one of those sticks that you can, if you've got oxen, right? Instead of a full bullwhip, instead of like a leash like you'd have for a pet dog for Fido, right? Very disrespectful treatment of Fido, but we'll give you one of those things to brush oxen along. So just in case the road isn't clear, you can use your stick to clear Anjanima, Chad. And Colonel Olds, or whatever your name is, we're going to give you these leaflets and pamphlets. You can go to Chad and say, hey, refugees, stop depending on any government. I don't care. To me, this looks like a welfare state. To me, this looks like a social safety net. Yeah. Those fences, some of those fences have little tags and say property of the United Nations. So that's what I want you to do, buddy. Yeah, your opinion's not evidence of something. Saying that you just did something, all it says is that you did something, right? Cool. Cool. Yeah. And it's amazing, right? Because you actually want whatever job you did, you actually do want the Harvard scientist doing it. The fact you can't afford it, hey, that's the reality, right? Is that the elitism or what? I don't know. Tomato, tomato, bibbity, bibbity. That's what I want. I want to see the MAGA identity politics, bibbity, ibbity, dibbity start coming out. I want to know when the going gets tough and the tough get going, the Chianti runs out, you start open the, who knows, expensive, cheap, the Pinot Gris pops open, right? It's the white wine at this point, and you're like, what the, whatever. It's a little too close to room temp. You taste too much booze. I want the ibbity, bibbity, MAGA Donald Trump stuff to come out, guys. Give me that stuff now. Yeah, your thoughts are not your thoughts, just your random thoughts, just what you pops into your head. Even what you think about that thought. That's not evidence of anything in the world. That's not evidence of anything in the world. The mysterious they. It is not true, right? Stephen Collins. It is not true. Yeah, it is not true. You need a civics lesson. You need a civics lesson. Based on what theory? Based on what thought? Right? Based on what political thought? Based on what theory? Ooh. Yeah, we are. We're losing all of our PhDs. So you guys didn't want to compete with China. You wanted to make every place in the U.S. rural Alabama and Arkansas. No offense, right? There are some national gems. Almost High is one of the gems out of rural America. She's the secret genius, not so secret genius on the channel. Hey, what's going on, Deeps? Good to see you. Right. Yeah, but Colonel Olds, I think in your retirement, you're going to be, at some point, it's going to come up that you have to research boner pills and fleshlights, things like this. Quite frankly, and yeah, and yeah, and we see the bibbity ibbities are emboldened by one another. The bibbity ibbity talk, right, guys? We're not reverting back to this. I know that that's your natural habitat, or you say it is, but it really isn't, right? You guys can do cool king stuff elsewhere. Cool king stuff elsewhere. Harmonize and synchronize with it some other way. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, guys. We'll see you back, though. We'll see you back. I want to see the reformed versions of yourselves after you guys go to my my boarding school. My boarding school for former MAGA Republicans, right? We did Japanese internment in the United States on YouTube. Maybe, right? It's the most shameful, racist part of American history. Maybe on YouTube, we'll do boarding schools for you guys. We'll reteach you how to speak the English language. Yeah. There's an opinion again. So Hey, someone who stoops to your level, right? Imagining myself and Almost High here stoop to your level, and we find the negative harmony in all things, right? Negative harmony in all things. Saying that someone is keen to understand something that um just appears to be antisocial. It appears to not be in the common interest, and appears to be masquerading as such, right? I would simply say that is a shared problem, right? That is a you problem as well. So yeah, yeah. Please, no dead Charlie jokes, right? I know it's acceptable to some people. Um, no jokes about that. We don't joke about political violence. Um, no jokes about political violence, but yeah, this is the part that's unacceptable to me. Is we have a Donald Trump that is waging 3 wars, who has said that political violence is acceptable based on identity, based on no known explanation in the natural or any world. um even the popes, this guy doesn't know anything about it, right? This guy's never been in an Abrams tank. This guy's never been in a plane. This guy hasn't trained next to John Wick or Keanu Reeves. He hasn't done any of this stuff. And so yeah, I would, my own view is, yeah, we should be clarifying. We should be clarifying. We should be describing, prescribing, not eliminating, explanations for political violence, and we shouldn't exalt ourselves up having succeeded in that system. So there you go. There's some aspect of that is for you, not for me, right? Not all of that's for me. I know that much. I know that much. Yeah, that's how the world works. Congratulations. When you get down to the bottom of it, there is one world, and that's how the world works. So, yeah, sacred geometry, right? To the ibbity bibbity maga sacred geometry. But guys, I do think I'm going to shut the stream down now. I'm going to close the stream down. If you guys want to consider supporting via super chat or something like this later today, feel free, please do. And for the time being, I'm going to go ahead and shut the stream down. We'll talk to you guys later. Take care.